So a common question after you make a 12-tone row is, well, what do I do with it next? And we saw last time how we can use a 12-tone row and maybe change the rhythm and repeat notes and stuff like this, and then before moving on to our next note, this kind of thing, okay? So there are plenty of things to do with an individual tone row, but maybe there's more global scale things you can do, okay? So let's go ahead and talk about 3 different ones, okay? So maybe it's good to actually have our tone row here. Let's go ahead and make one up here. We have, let's start on C just because, and then go like F sharp with the tritone, and then maybe G, and then A sharp, B, C sharp, E. I'm just making this up as we go, using everything once. We need a D, we need a D sharp, we need a G sharp. That's all the sharps. We got C, D, E, we're missing F still. G, we're missing A. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so here's our tone row, beautiful tone row. What we can do now is simply write it out. I'm going to keep it pretty stable and not too crazy here. G, A sharp. And I'm trying to scrunch it up a little bit just so we can make one really clear point in a second. So bear with me. E, D, D sharp, G sharp, F, and A. I should have 12 notes, yes. Okay. Now, the easiest thing to do is simply reverse it. Simply reverse it. This is called retrograde. Retrograde. Okay, so this is called a prime form because it's normal. It's called prime. Okay, retrograde is when you simply reverse it. So instead of going this way, we're going to go this way. Okay. So all we have to do is write A, F. All we're doing is reversing the notes, you see. So instead of starting with this note, we're going backwards. Okay. So we're going to do D sharp here. We're going to do D. This will be D natural, right? Again, you don't necessarily need this for writing serial music, but it can help. C sharp. I'm going to run out of room, but I hope you see the point here. Okay. Maybe the G up here, and then F sharp. And finally our C. Okay, so there's all the notes again, just in their retrograde form. Another thing you can do, and this will take a little bit more time, is to do inversion. Inversion. So before we were going this way, and now we're going that way, right? But for retrograde. But now instead of, for inversion, we keep the same note. We start on C. And we can reflect the whole thing across a C line. So if you can imagine, we put a mirror here, and everything will be flipped based on our starting pitch. Okay, so this will make it an inversion. Okay, the good thing about C to F sharp is the C to F sharp is still the same note. It's still the same pitch class. Because this is, the reason is because there's 6 half steps here, and therefore we go 6 half steps this way. Okay, so that's the easiest way to do this. Now, this is going away from our center by 1, right? So we have to go away from our center by 1 to get this note. If we go natural, this is moving away from the center. It's moving down by 1, okay? So we're still doing the same thing. Maybe this is good to say. And you can do this by actual intervals, but also it might be easier when talking about different pitch classes to talk about half steps, okay? So again, pitch classes are useful in the case that like C and D sharp, or I'm sorry, C sharp and D flat are completely interchangeable. If you have a C sharp, you can use a D flat in its place, which makes it really easy if you're writing music that needs to, for example, if these were reversed, maybe it would be good to see a D flat going to a D rather than a D sharp going to a D natural, okay? Stuff like that. Okay, so let's continue. So we went up 6 and up 1, so we're going down 6 and down 1. Now this is, because this is such a large interval, I don't like to count this. I like to count this one instead. Okay, so A sharp to C is only 2 half steps. So all we have to do is make a D. Actually, that's just D right there. Okay. So we're going up 2 half steps here instead of going down 2 half steps there. Okay. This is going closer by 1 half step, so we might as well just do this. In fact, instead of writing C sharp, you could get away with D flat here. Instead of C sharp, you can go with D flat. It's the same thing, okay? But because we're going down, maybe it would be good to see a D flat. Okay, so let's go ahead and write that, even though it might be a little strange, okay? So here we're going 1 above our tonic, so here we got to go 1 below our tonic, which is simply B. Here is a major third above our tonic. We're going a major third below our tonic, which is an A flat. And again, because I'm going down, I'm using flats here, okay? Here, using D, this is a major second above our tonic, so we got to go a major second below our tonic. Same thing here, we're moving up by 1 from here, up by 1. So we're going to move down by 1 here. This will be a B double flat or simply an A. Maybe put an A natural sign there. G sharp, this is, let's see, it's this note minus 2. So we're going to do this plus 2, simply plus 2. Super easy, right? And then we got, there's a minor third there. So we got to do a minor third here, which will be simply G. And then finally we got A, which is a minor third below our tonic, so we got to go a minor third above our tonic, which is this E flat. Okay, so this is how you can invert a tone row. You simply find a place to reflect it, and then you use you alter all the notes except the reflected note, of course. Okay, now if you want to double check, you can do this, and you just list all the pitch classes. Remember, C is 0, F sharp is 6, F is 5, D is 2. D flat is 1, just like C sharp. B is B. A flat is 9. I'm sorry, no, is 8. There we go, is 8. B flat is A. A natural is 9. E is 4. G is 7. And E flat is 3. So if you go through, you should have all the pitch classes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, A, and B. Okay, so that's how you can check your work. The final thing you can do, which also is really good that we did it in this order, is called retrograde. I'm sorry, let me say that again. Retrograde inversion. Okay, so retrograde inversion is where you do both. You do retrograde plus inversion. Since we've already written retrograde, we've already written inversion, we can just use inversion and go backwards. So if you want to do retrograde inversion, all you have to do is start here and go backwards. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Again, oops, might have to put our clef in here. We're in treble clef, by the way. Hope that wasn't too confusing. Okay, so we got E flat. Let's start here so I don't run into this. We're starting, there we go. We're starting here with the E flat and going up to G. So we're going E flat, G, E natural, maybe put a natural sign there just in case. A, B flat, and again you can change any of these into enharmonic notes. Okay, we got A flat there, we got B next, maybe put a natural. D flat, going to, or maybe in this case you would want to put a C sharp, makes it easier to read, right? If you're playing this, if you're an actual musician that wanted to play this, you might want to have this written instead with a C sharp going up. B, C sharp, D is much easier to see than B, D flat, D, right? So that's always good. So make sure that you write music that is playable. That's always the trick, okay? So F sharp here is good. Same thing here, you might want to put G flat instead, okay? Just looking at that one really quick. Okay, so here you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 notes. Okay, so this is your retrograde inversion. Okay, so even if you have one row, you can do many things with it, and you could even change the rhythm here like we saw. Maybe you could make this eighth notes, this whole note, this quarter note, this a quarter note, maybe a bunch more eighth notes, and just keep it, or even 16th notes, and go really simple here. And therefore your tone row has a little bit of personality rather than just static notes that are boring. Okay, so this is how you can dress up your tone row, your 12 tone row.